This week's episode of One Piece features a Tontata tribe adventure, where Leo and Cub team up together, battle against Doflamingo's goons and Giola so that they can save Mansherry, the princess of the Tontata tribe who has the ability to heal people with her devil fruit tears. I honestly just don't have that much to say about this week's episode. What I will say is, Princess Mansherry is one of the most disgustingly cute things I have seen from the One Piece series. She's so screamingly adorable that even the characters in this episode actually bring this fact up. She's distractingly cute, at least according to Giola, who in this week's episode is trying to use Princess Mansherry's tears so that she can bring back all of the defeated Don Quixote crime family members so they can come back and fight for round 2. Does it end up working? No, and that's because Leo and Cub make their way up to the top of this fortress, beating up all the guards in their way and end up saving Princess Mansherry. That's about it this week. They just managed to stretch that out over the course of about 20 minutes. Despite that, this week's episode was pretty interesting. There were some pretty cool developments at the end with Bellamy and Luffy, which were actually really well animated. Those final attack scenes where Luffy was getting drilled against the wall and constantly punched by Bellamy as he was bouncing around looked really good. I expect to see more great things from that. But really, at the end of the day, this week's episode was just a big rescue mission a la Super Mario Bros. Leo being Mario and Princess Mansherry being Peach. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? A very simple but a fun episode of One Piece. I'm not really the biggest fan of the Tontata tribe, but they're not really all that annoying, and I do like some of their quirkiness. Leo in this week's episode in particular was really awesome when he got to use his devil fruit power at the end to actually take out everyone all at once by sewing them all together and attaching it all to Giola so that they would all slam into her at the very end. I felt they could have added a little more impact to that, kind of like what they did with Bellamy and Luffy, just to make it seem like it was a much more damaging attack. Despite that, it did look really cool when he actually got out and did his pose and everything and managed to catch Princess Mansherry as she was falling out of the sky. It's just good, cheesy fun. The only problem is this episode was just a little drawn out for my taste. Pretty much just that's about it. Just not that much happened, but it was a really cute, fun episode of One Piece, and we need these type of episodes every once in a while when all these other crazy things are going down, especially after last week. I will say, though, I'm really looking forward to next week's episode of One Piece because it's going to be the Senor Pink versus Frankie episode, and that was one of my favorite chapters from the Dressrosa arc. We actually get backstory on Senor Pink, and we also get the battle between him and Frankie, and if the preview is any indication, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really crazy, so I cannot wait for that one. I'm pumped up. But this episode right here, on the technical side of things, animation artwork looked pretty clean and consistent for the most part, but nothing too crazy going on here. There were a few moments where I felt they could have put a little more detail into the artwork, like when, say, Leo actually finished his big attack where he sewed up everybody. I feel they could have added just a little bit more to that to make it a little more atmospheric, maybe resemble the manga just a little bit more. Despite that, this was still a fun episode with lots of ridiculous quirkiness that only One Piece can pull off. But it was just sort of an average episode. Despite that, average is still pretty good, and that means it's very watchable, so a lot of One Piece fans are definitely going to like this episode. So, if you're reading the manga, or you're watching the anime version, check out this episode. You might see something you like, and you're definitely going to see a lot of cute stuff from Princess Mansherry. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 3 out of 5. Fun, average episode of One Piece that any One Piece fan should definitely give at least one watch. So, before you guys leave today, I would love to hear your thoughts about this week's episode of One Piece, and you can tell me in the comments section below. Do you like the Tontata tribe? Do you have a favorite member? What did you think about Princess Mansherry's healing abilities? And what do you want to see from the rest of the Dressrosa arc? Make sure to tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching my video. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!